Welcome, everybody, to Spotlights and Encores with Brad and Tim, presented by the Dynamite Collective. Today, in the Spotlight section, we're going to dig into the first book that the Dynamite Collective had on its website, and it's, of course, by none other than our own Bradley Poor here. Brad, it looks like you've already got your author coat on, your author sweater on, so I appreciate that you're very appropriate for the session here today. But today I want to talk about the first book. I mean, this is really what inspired a lot of what we've been doing at the Dynamite Collective. The first book published by T. Willingham Publishing, A Journey to the Middle, and the subtitle, How I Embraced Mediocrity and Failed to Turn My Old Vacuum into a Rocket Ship. I've talked with people through the years who have said, I want to write a book. I've thought about writing a book, and I know that this you've shared before that this was on your mind for quite some time. Can you tell us a little bit about what that final step in the journey was that was, okay, I'm going to do it. This is it. I'm actually committing, and this book is actually going to happen?
I think, I mean, what you mentioned is, you use the word commit, right? I mean, that is part of it. It is carving out that time that you need to sit down and write your thoughts out. I had also picked up a writing tablet, which I actually have here with me, called a Remarkable. And it was one of those things that I picked up and that I thought, I bet this is really going to help me sort of organize my thoughts and put enough things down, and that I'll be comfortable with, then carrying that around. And, when I have extra time, I can just pick it up and it's thin and light and it can go everywhere with me. And just starting to write down snippets for stories, little tiny ideas. Just, okay, this was a funny thing that happened when I was a teenager. Oh, this was a funny story that I had told around the house for years and years, that I was going to, create this rocket ship out of this Dyson vacuum that had died, and that I was going to, put all these parts together and, get us to the moon, and so all these, strange stories that I would tell. And it just snowballed, really. I mean, it just kept going and going and going. And as I would get through, 1 page, 2 page, 3 pages of just ideas of, oh, this would maybe be a funny story of something that, again, that happened when I was a child, and it was then really just turning the paragraph into, let's say 6 pages or 10-page long stories. It felt a lot to me, and I think I've mentioned this before, like writing music, right? It was obviously longer form, but writing music was something that I've done since I was a kid. Not, I haven't performed all of it, but it was something that I enjoyed doing. And so it was really just an extension of that. And it became, well, I've got, whatever, 100 pages, 150 pages, 175 pages. Let's see what happens when I try to get it printed, or let's see what happens when I try to get it edited, or can I even get this into a book format? And oh my God, then I have to deal with a cover, and I have to deal with the back, and I have to deal with, barcodes and all these other things that come along with it. So it starts really small and then just takes a really long time to sort all the little bits and pieces out.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the rocket ship part of the story, because a lot of this is autobiographical, but the part that that I love the most is about the rocket ship, and it's a little bit more fiction. I guess I didn't know that it was inspired by some real life thoughts and some real experiences. But I just love, this is one of my favorite parts of the book here, where it actually is that from Remarkable there, where there's some actual,
yes,
the jotting down and the ideas and the design of the rocket ship there. Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about that transition into, deeper into fiction.
So it was, it was really a different beast and a different pace, because what I had been doing up until that story was just sort of, oh, remember that time at, band camp sort of story, right? And I would just write it all down. But then when I got to that story about, turning the vacuum cleaners and stuff into a rocket ship, I really had to think through, well, what would it look like? And what were these sort of parts that I would need to get it to actually, in theory, work? And so I sort of started doing research into, okay, well, what's the biggest rocket you can buy for like a hobbyist rocket, right? And how much can I get a Dyson motor for a vacuum on eBay, and how much might that cost, and what does it look like? And oh, well, if I need to put these things together, I'm going to need to take some sort of class and, electrical, at the community college. And I had sort of just started writing all these things down in this, like, my terrible chicken scratch handwriting. And it was, again, it was way different, and it was a lot of fun after spending all this time writing all of these stories. Some are happy and some are sad, from like my childhood or our teenage years, the things that we've gotten up to. And so sitting down and like thinking, okay, well, if someone looks at this who knows anything about design or engineering, or even taking a Dyson vacuum apart, or rocket, hobbyists, are there going to be things in here where they're immediately going to be turned off and say, well, this isn't true, and this is ridiculous, and this is. And so I actually spent a bunch of time researching, and writing and making these little drawings of what it would look like and how it might actually work. I mean, there's no way it would actually work. That's not possible. But again,
wait a
I wanted
minute,
to.
Really? Are you serious?
Well, it might. But I wanted to at least spend the time to get the information right. I mean, the stuff that is in the book is legitimate. And again, you could, I suppose, try to put something together from it. I don't get a day, but it was a lot of fun, and it was a lot of fun because it really sort of took me out of this, introspective, internal out, to then say, okay, this is nothing about me. This has nothing to do with me. How much does a engine cost, for a hobby rocket or something, right? So it was a nice sort of change of pace after, dealing with things of my childhood.
Yeah, really, really good examples of having to do the research, right? That's a different perspective than the autobiographical parts.
Way different.
Well, hey, we're going to be very excited to hear more about your writing process. I know that's going to be a topic that we're going to address, not only when we talk about your other books, but also do some segments with other authors. And most importantly, put on your list, all of our viewers are going to want to know where to get that author sweater. So we want to make sure and share that as one of the tips.
It's a long plane ride to the Emerald Isle to pick this cardigan up. So you're gonna have to go to Ireland to pick it up. So it's very warm because it's very cold in Michigan today.
So don't forget, folks, Journey to the Middle is available at the Dynamite Collective, and I think Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Target.com, all over the place, anywhere you buy your books. That's it for the Spotlight session. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to Spotlights and Encores with Tim and Brad. Today's Encore segment is going to be another You Love It, Brad, from the archive. If I was a superhero, that would be my name. I would be the archive. Today, I'm going to pull up something, Brad, from our very distant past, and I think this might be a surprise to you. I hope it is. Take a look at what we have here. You recognize this artwork?
No, I didn't do it.
This is a relic from our time at Brighton Hospital.
Yeah.
So in an earlier show, we talked about the different places that Brad and I have worked together, and this is one of them. And some great images here that were drawn by one of the short-term residents of the Brighton Hospital. It was ATC, as you can see there in the right, Adolescent Treatment Center, and he did these great caricatures of different members of the staff there. So interestingly enough, this is a recurring theme here where we've got, the playfulness of working at Brighton Hospital. So Marcel's got the hacky sack. Matt is the night watchman up there. Bob has got money, coming out of his wallet. I love that. I think it's in my opinion, glamorization of Dana. I think James took it a little bit too far here.
Yeah.
I blacked out his name there so that you couldn't see that. But as we get over to Brad and Tim over in the right-hand corner, did you have very, very short hair?
There's a story in the first book, this is after that, it must be. There's a story in A Journey to the Middle, which we have recently talked about getting a bad haircut right before work. And I had to shave my head.
You're kidding me. And this is the representation.
And that's it. Yeah, that's
that is hilarious.
how I looked. Did I bring a skateboard to work? I don't remember that. That's ironic, isn't it?
Yeah. It kind of fits really nicely. Now, I don't know if I have an axe because I had a beard at that time. I certainly did have a beard. Maybe I looked like a lumberjack, or because I had one point, we had been involved in another business, which was the stump removal business. That could have been it. But do you notice what I've got there in my little belt loop? I'm loving it.
Is that a pager?
My pager. Yeah, my pager. Yeah.
Nice.
And then, interesting about our good friend Heath there in security. He's kind of hiding something there behind his back. Do you see what he's got a controller from his video games.
So he did all this.
Yeah. Suffice to say, there was a lot of playing around when we worked at Brighton Hospital, but it was part of the job, right? We played volleyball with the kids, we played ping pong with the kids, and had a lot of fun. This patient, by the way, I don't know if you remember or not, but James was the patient who ran down the hallway and punched the glass window after a family session, cut his hand really, really badly. And I got in a lot of trouble because I ran down there and tried to wrap it up and apply pressure and everything without the latex gloves. So then we had to carry the gloves from then on after that. Yeah, but a great artist. He left a lot of art around the treatment center, and I'm glad I was able to hang on to this one.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen that. If I have, it's been a really long time.
Yeah. Well, that's it for From the Archives here with Tim and Brad. Hope you join in next time. Goodbye from Portland.
Goodbye from Ann Arbor.
Screaming in my